Happy.
No, that does not sound like
walk around with that collar popped up.
Yeah.
Hey, do this.
Yeah.
You go over there.
So let's go on that. I want to talk a little bit about each of your illustrious careers, because you guys have done a lot. All three of you have done amazing, have had amazing contributions to what we call house music. This is the Vintage House Show. And so part of what that is about is celebration and preservation. This is Lauren's framing, but the celebration and preservation of Chicago house legends and Chicago house music. And I think
What up? We are live at WNUR 89.3 FM Chicago. I'm Lauren Lowry. I'm the executive producer and sometimes co-host of the Vintage House Show. DJ Lori Branch is out of town this week. She'll be back next month. Hopefully spinning live, bringing on some really interesting topics, etc. But we have a pioneer, one of the pioneers of house music in Chicago, DJ Craig Loftis in the house. Craig, what's up? Say what's up. So he's not just our, he's the co-host. He's been a host here before several times. Some of our most controversial shows he's taken a part in, bringing in the folks. People getting angry, getting death threats at a certain point in our discussions here. But, it's part of the course. House music is controversial, isn't it? People have a lot to say about house music, So people have strong feelings about house music. So I'm hoping everyone can hear us well. I may have you come a little closer to me, but you are going to talk through that. You'll be able to hear through that too. Right. It'll be fine. But
can you all hear me out there?
Yeah, let us know if we can hear. If y'all can hear us, let us know what the flow is, because we've got a pretty interesting topic today, which we think is critically important. It's really about the state of house music clubs in Chicago. What is happening right now? We've had the Dayton Game leave. We've had Family Den leave, and the lodge that is owned by my guest here, DJ Craig Loftis, has recently closed. And we really want to get to the bottom of kind of what's happening with that. Like, what is going on? Why are these things happening? And it's really not cool, because the sustainability of the music is important. So having a place where people know to go, where people can experiment and have residencies and things like that is important to music. But besides that, people are coming here globally and want to hear the music and can't always, find where to go. But let's start from the beginning. Okay, you have been there since day one.
Yeah, I've been around for a while.
Since day one. And, you've seen sort of the clubs come and go. Talk to me about the Warehouse. Talk to me about then the Power Plant. Talk to me about Den One. Talk to me about these clubs and their sort of ebbs and flows. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit.
That's no distraction. There we go.
But go ahead. Talk just quickly about that.
As everyone knows, Chicago has a very rich history in underground, and it was the reason why house music was born right here. It was because of the strong underground scene that we had. It's like no other. A lot of people wanted to imitate what we were doing, but, we are the originals and the originators. Throughout the ages, in my lifetime, I've seen, Robert Williams, Frankie Knuckles, come together as one to have 206, which is the warehouse. Then they split up with their separate partners. Robert opened up the music box, and Frankie did the power plant. And throughout that time frame, you watch the ups and downs of house music. But one of the main things that it was real strong back then, even though there were separate places, but you had multiple places to go.
Right.
It was like an unwritten law. Robert had Saturday night, we had Friday night.
Okay.
Then they took Tuesday night, then we took Wednesday night.
Okay.
It was always that. It was always something to do in Chicago. That's one of the reasons I believe that Reynolds is so strong right now in Chicago, because Chicago's had a history of Tuesday night. Ron Hardy used to beat Tuesday nights down.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of the younger people that go out to Reynolds have no clue that Tuesday is nothing new here in Chicago.
See, that's good to know, because not everyone does understand that there was some synergy. We were working together back in that day. And, but we did have these things. I mean, the city of Chicago really likes to attack Black music establishments.
Definitely. Well, see, one of the things about it, and definitely in this day and age, with the violence and the things with hip hop nightclubs and places like that, anytime you have a Black establishment coming together, Black people, period, coming together for something, it's automatically on the radar of the who's who, and they want to, they think that all Black people are just coming together on one establishment for it to explode, and they're just waiting for it to explode. A little bit, and that's one of the main problems that we have, and that's one of the main problems that I'm having right now with the lodge, is trying to explain to the powers that be that this is a lifestyle, this is a culture. These are mature adults that come out to have a good time, to release. They don't understand that. They have no idea. And if you're not a part of house, then you don't know anything about that. But let me just say this real quick too. Let's go back in history. There was a time that when I was working with Frankie at the power plant, we wanted to get a small businessman's loan. And at that time, I was real heavy business savvy, just art entertainment management from Columbia. So I was trying to help Frankie take the power plant to another level. So we went to the small business, did all the applications and everything, had an interview. They told us that our books must have been falsified because of the fact that they could not believe that a nightclub could only be open one night a week, make that much money, and didn't sell liquor. So I told him, I said, you don't understand the culture or the concept of what we're presenting to you. And you know what I'm saying? What we present to this city is addictive. Everyone that goes there is looking forward to the next Friday night. Or let's say even with the music box, looking for the next Saturday night. So I actually invited them down. I invited them down. I said, you have to come see for yourself. Only one young lady came. And she was amazed. We still didn't get the loan, but they were amazed when they saw what was going on. But that just goes to show you, people have a misconception. Even with the powers that be that's in our automatic area, I tried to explain to them what we were doing and the type of events that we host and everything like that. And, it's really interesting how it's very hard to get someone to realize the power and the structure of our house music scene if they're not a part of it.
Well, here's the deal. I feel like, this is the deal. So how long did you have the lodge? Like, how long?
This would actually be our 8-year anniversary, October 28th. Which at this time, because we're closed, we're going to be doing it at Haven, but it would be our 8-year anniversary. And within those 8 years, one of our strengths, like we were talking earlier, a lot of places don't last more than 3-4 years. But one of the strong points that we have is change. That's just one of my skill sets. When we were, at the lodge, we've actually flipped the lodge interior wise I would say 3 to 4 times. That being major structure, bar here, moving that over here.
Mhm.
You know, giving the clientele a different change in atmosphere when they came in,
Right.
and let alone we won't even talk about decorations. It
Mhm.
takes it to a whole nother level. So
Right.
I usually try to flip out the decorations of the lodge every 2 months, so that all the people don't get bored with the same look, the same thing every time they come back. They want to see something different. You know,
Right. And that goes to sort of what you know as someone who has seen the club scene sort of up and down. You've been in it and within it, but it's not easy running a club. Why had you done that before? Was this your first time sort of being the actual owner of the business?
no, it wasn't my first time.
So give me your first time and what were the lessons learned then?
Well, the very first time was a management thing. Let's say that I was Frankie's manager. I managed the power plant,
Okay.
and that at that time when I was in school, I was taking art and entertainment management. And Frankie said, "Well, now if that's what you're going to school for, outside of being a sound engineer for the power plant," he said, "Well, come on, let's help me
Do
do
it.
this.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it." So starting with that, but see, it was a much easier thing with the power plant. You know, the books and able to do that was very simple. Getting into a liquor establishment is something totally different.
That's true.
And inventory, constantly making sure that you got what's hot, what people are drinking, being competitive with your pricing, all of that. It's totally different.
Well, I mean, then it becomes very serious because you need real insurances.
Yes.
You've got sort of real issues to deal with when you start having liquor and some of these other things. Because I think back in the day, if there was an empty warehouse, because again, if you think about the locations that were successful for any of these party places, number one, they were in places in Chicago that were declining. So if you think about Michigan Avenue, where you had all these different clubs between Roosevelt Road and Cermak, or even further down,
correct,
it was nothing going on there. It was like completely empty. It used to be a bustling industrial, sort of district, but over time people left and nothing was happening. Same thing with the warehouse. Nothing was happening on Jefferson. Clearly, years ago, there was a wonderful industrial corridor gone, right? So it's a perfect time to open up something there. No one's going to bother you because no one's there. Right?
No one's
so
there.
You didn't probably deal with like all of the different insurances needed and licenses needed. Let's just open it up. Everyone come through.
Not at all.
They pay me $5 to $10 a head, and then you flow. But now all of a sudden it's a business. So you decide 8 years ago to open your own club, which is really commendable because that's not an easy thing to do, to say I'm going to do.
It's not.
Because you could just chill and just go to somebody else's club.
Well, you know what? One of the things about opening up a club, like a lot of people say, if so-and-so did this or did that, it has to be within you.
Right.
It has to be in you. You know what I'm saying? It is not an easy task. And it's actually what's really crazy. Some people try it and immediately get out because it's not what they expected. One of the things, the only downfall or downside I see of me running my own club is the fact that it's so intense that it takes away from my creativity as a DJ.
You think so?
Yeah,
right.
It did, and I can tell.
Because those are two different. See, again, that's always a problem with the business person and the artist.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with restaurants, right? Restaurants don't always survive because if the chef is also the business person, they've got to wear a lot of hats. How do you take, make sure that people are not poisoned, right? And then making sure that the person who is taking the orders and doing all the waitresses. So it's very hard to do all of those different things. It is.
And that's why you try to find strong people in your corner that can handle, once they see how you operate your business and they know your steps, then they can take over and handle that and not bother you, especially if you're wearing two hats. If I'm a DJ, I don't bring any. If I'm playing records right now, I don't want to hear that we're out of ice,
right?
Or you know what I'm saying? Or this register went down. What's the passcode to get in? I don't need that,
right?
But and because it has been truly a challenge. Taking our underground situation that we normally have and bringing it up to speed. Like you say, we have all the licensing that we're supposed to have.
Nice.
Right now, I'm just going through an issue with the PTA licensing, but I'm leaving that up to the lawyers to deal with. And that's what really bothers me sometimes is our community is so quick to uh, jump on the bandwagon to say it happened because of this or it happened because of that or they didn't have what they needed or and they have no clue
Right.
what's really going on
Right.
because I struggled to make sure I had all my license insurances and everything. I paid those. And that's one of the things that when the inspectors and people come in, it actually gives you a sense of pride when you can flip out your book and you have everything that you're supposed to have in order.
Right.
But sometimes learning the city of Chicago, you could have everything that you're supposed to have, and it doesn't matter if certain people don't want you where you are.
Well, yeah, I mean, let me tell you, you know, I also work in real estate. And one of my first examples of BS in real estate is, you should put that over here. 'Cause
Yeah,
people are saying something
right.
too.
Yeah, I can't see that way, but yeah.
Do you want some water? Because
No,
I
I'm
know your
fine.
water was over there. My water's over here. But so listen, here's the deal. The first time I jumped into like any, sort of a thing, there was a building inspection at a property that I worked at. And I had just come off of getting sort of an engineering degree. So I'm looking at this person who's inspecting this building that was like a 20-story building and the mechanicals. You think about building, these buildings take a lot to operate, right? And one little thing happens, So I was like, I was just trying to follow him around, see what he did. And I realized that building inspector had no background in buildings. Okay, this building inspector was a police officer's son who got the job at the building department.
Exactly.
And then gave the building a violation because I was asking him too many questions.
There you go.
He was angry about
There
it.
you
They
go.
want to find something.
They want to find something.
They
I really can't speak too much on what's going on because it's in litigation.
Right.
But to be very honest with you, the stuff that they said that was going on at the lodge, you would be amazed when you saw it. Because what was interesting at the same time, that the people that could actually write me the ticket, I got shut down by somebody who wasn't the person that wrote the ticket. I didn't get a ticket. I didn't even get a ticket. They actually said I was in compliance, but somebody wasn't happy, and so they decided.
That's exactly it. It's a lot of BS, but here's the deal, and I feel like as someone of color, sort of working in the industry, and there's a finite number of people of color who work in sort of commercial real estate generally, globally. It's not people who look like us, but we cannot be afraid, and we have to be more tight than everybody. The tightness has to be there, and we do need those allies to be sort of sometimes front facing as well, because we know the BS is going to come.
Exactly.
You already know that, and that sort of cautions you from looking at certain places because you're going to get the BS.
You already know it, because of the color of your skin.
But we can't be. We have to fight through that. But we need everyone's help. There's got to be some collaboration in making sure that we are sustainable, that these clubs are sustainable. Everything that we do, sort of certainly around this music, should be also a city of Chicago priority.
One of the things that I've learned with this situation and our scene is that you're correct. We do need to come together, but I don't want to say, I need you to come together and support me. We need to come together to show the city and anyone else actually how strong we are and who we are. Because I've noticed that from talking to the politicians and people and inspectors here and there, they have no clue of who we are.
Right.
And they think that when you say house music, they think your regular radio stuff. They have no. Continue. Yeah, they have no idea of the whole underground culture that has been around for decades. That's actually put the city on the map.
But now we're calling ourselves the home of house.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, no.
We're the home of house.
Yeah.
And there's no place to go right now on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday. And I was telling you, Berlin, the person who does tourism, was telling me about the techno, sort of club flow, so that's there. That's a big deal.
When you're traveling, yeah, they do that a lot. They do that in London too. You know,
What
they'll
about
tell you about
why are we not investing in that kind of thing here in the city of Chicago? Why is that not a part of what the house music community as a group is making sure that not just we're going to have a festival, not just the house music festival, but we need maybe a synergy of clubs or a row someplace where people know they can go here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Why do you think either the city's not doing that or we're not doing it and we're not pushing it? What's missing that the city doesn't realize the dollars involved in this?
Well, it's kind of two things. One, what we offer is an underground scene, which is it's a whole package. It's the sound, the lighting, the atmosphere. A lot of that would not work mainstream. You see, and I think that's probably one of the problems. The success of it, it's kind of like, it would kind of be, I won't say phony. It would be give you a whole underground feel and all of that, but it would be somewhere in a commercial area.
Right.
It's real hard to pull that off. But I understand where you're going. If we could ever come up with an idea or a concept that would allow us to pull that off, where you could get that same vibe and that underground thing. Like, give you an example. Haven. Haven is a great event space.
Where's Haven?
Haven is actually on 42nd. I think it's 916 East 42nd Street,
Okay.
I believe. But it's in that area between Cottage Grove and Kingsbury.
Okay.
43rd
or 42nd?
43rd. I'm sorry, 43rd. Like Reggie Corners did his birthday party last week.
Hey, Reggie. Happy belated.
Happy belated birthday, Reggie. It was phenomenal. You
Nice.
know, and Haven is like a new space. So Reggie was able to give that space that whole underground feel, you know, and that something like that could work. That could definitely work. We're actually having our 8-year anniversary at Haven as well. It's going to be Halloween, and as everyone knows, that's my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
So get
Halloween,
ready.
is that the 31st of October?
It's going to be the 28th. That's
so the 28th,
Saturday.
that's Saturday.
That's
So
the
come
28th.
through. He is inviting everyone to come through the Halloween party at the lodge at Haven.
Yeah. The lodge is on the move.
The
We'll
lodge
be in
presents
Haven.
at Haven.
At
Right there, you
yeah,
go.
on the 28th.
And so I mean, I think that's wonderful, and that there is a place to go, which I think is cool.
But you know what? I understand what you're saying. We need our own home,
Right.
and that's what I'm trying to keep, and I'm trying to get everyone on board with. Even when I did the video campaign, I asked everybody, and I'll ask you guys again. Just send me a video of what the lodge means to you and the music, what it means to you, so that I can put this stuff together and present it to the right people. Because I kid you not, what you love so dearly, these people have no clue. And we're all getting older, and we need to have this information out there as well, so that the younger generation would even get curious when they see it and find out, well, what are all these people talking about? Let me try to experience this and see what's going on. So when you get a minute, you sit back. If you ever came down to the lodge, just send me a video. Y'all all know my Facebook page. Go to my Facebook page and just send me a message or a video of what you think of the lodge. What did you like about the lodge? What did it mean to you? And what does the music mean to you?
So here's the deal, though. Here's what's really, I think, interesting is that those things are important. Having that support, even if people sending you a video and talking about it, I think is so critical that people understand how important it is that you're there, because not everyone is going to make it, but they'll want to make it once they hear what people have to say about it, which I think is great. But so talk to me too about, like, again, so at the same time you're closed, all of a sudden we saw, what was that, Family Den was closing, and then the Dane game had been closed, and I had no idea.
Let's take it back a little bit. They closed the Post first.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Post Sheldon's Club. They closed the Post first.
Right.
And it's actually the same inspector that closed the Post.
Shut up.
The same inspector that closed us.
Oh my God. We need to we got to get that guy's or person's name, and we need to put it out there like, what's up? Somebody knows that guy. You know what I mean? And we just want to say hello to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? To get an answer.
And then they closed the Family Den, but I think they're back open. I'm not sure. They closed the Family Den, and they also closed another club called Lids. And they closed 50 Yard Line.
50
It's
Is it
probably
back open there?
but yeah. But at the same, what I'm saying, it was like a whole week of just closing clubs. 2 weeks, like a 3 week span. They closed clubs.
Yeah, that's kind of, and that says something. Like
Yeah.
to me, that's like house music is under attack. It's like black music is under attack. You know, what do we do? Scott Lee, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us today. Scott Lee says, is there a way to work with Choose Chicago to help promote the house music community? Are you familiar with Choose Chicago? Do you know sort of those folks at Choose Chicago?
You know, I
Choose Chicago is our tourism, and Scott, if you want to talk more about that, Choose Chicago is our tourism arm
okay.
for the city. So it's supposed to be promoting everything about Chicago across the city and across the country and across the world. So Choose Chicago, I think there's a woman who used to be with like the Art Institute or something like that, or the Architecture Center, who's now the head of that. I think Glenn Eden might be a part of that too. So another black guy there. But we're missing out on an opportunity. Scott, who are the people there at Choose Chicago? Do you know some of those people? Should we be talking to them? Should we set up a meeting? Who do you know to help us sort of get the word
get
in?
the places established first. That's
Right,
the main thing. We have to have a place to go.
Right.
You know, we have to get those things back up.
But I think again, what he's saying is that maybe they can help us with that.
Yeah.
Like, why is that not taking place? Is the key. Like
it's
have
not
to
important
find
to them.
right.
See, again, this is where the people need to know more and come out and voice you're of that age. I'm going to speak directly to my house people. You're of that age right now where your voice matters. That's all I can tell you. Your voice matters now. We're grown, and our voice matters, and people need to hear it. And that's the problem. We think that we're okay and secure in our world when we're actually not. This thing is every day being snatched right from up under us, where other cultures or other countries are taking it and making it their own. And that's because we here in our own home can't get together and forge some sort of alliance to push our Chicago house music agenda together and find us a place and keep it going, you know, and let your aldermen and alderwomen know what this means to you. And it's just not another black bar as they look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, one of the highlights to your club is that young people loved it.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to DJ Momami, who will be here next Wednesday. Wonderful young Latina DJ from Chicago, Whitney Young Love. She loved the lodge so much. Young people love being over there. We're at voting ages now. You know, we make decisions. Our people who represent us should be representing the things that are important. Our lieutenant governor is all up in every house music, everything. She's on stage at Chosen Few. She's at she's loving house music. There's got to be some way that all of us can get together.
Our new mayor. You know, it's interesting. Our mayor is a house head. I don't want to say
he's a West Side house head. We give him some West Side love.
West Side love. Likes house music. Yes. And what was interesting, I was trying to figure out, well, maybe this was something they were going after him, so they decided to go after us instead of going after him directly or something. Right. I don't know. It's just really crazy, but I'm hoping that, you know, we keep our fingers crossed that everything goes well. We're coming up for review soon, and we'll see. I thank everyone for the GoFundMe. It's still needed.
Tell us where to go. Where do
actually,
people
you can go to my Facebook page, and you'll see the lodge GoFundMe. Please click and donate. What I would like to say is at this particular point, thanks to some very, very good architectural friends of ours, we don't need $50,000 right now. We're only looking at something around 35.
Oh, wow.
And around 35. And they were able to change the plans for one of the parts of the building that the city says we have an issue with. And it looks good. It looks very promising. That's all I can say.
I mean, whatever help we can give, Craig, and all of these different places. I mean, honestly, right now, because there's not sort of just one place that can be open forever. And again, I want us to think about collaborations and things like that. I think we need to be in support in whatever way we can be. We love this music form. Right now, for us to find house music we really do have to jump on Facebook and social media. Oh, is somebody having something here? And then there's another little club here, but we're supporting people when we could be supporting ourselves and really coming together in such a big way where we know there's the place to go. Every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, this place is going to be when people come to town. The marathon's in town this week, guys, and there are people from all over the world, all over our lakefront. And I'm sure 30% of those people would love to hear house music on a day like tonight. It's a beautiful night.
Yeah, it is nice outside.
Beautiful night. People would love to have some place to go. I just ran by Buddy Guys. Buddy Guys was packed full of people who don't speak English. Okay, they're just out there kicking it, out there kicking it. But so I want to thank Scott, Leonard, Lee, all thanks for coming through. So Leonard says that they started closing Black Southside businesses because Blacks started protesting against the migrants. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true?
That's interesting.
I know.
No, I don't know. But I mean, I'm looking forward to giving. I need barbacks.
Right.
So, hey,
let's get to work. Let's put everyone to work. I mean, it's interesting.
The migrant issue is a whole nother bowl of grits right now.
It is. I think what he's suggesting is kind of what you were suggesting. I think if you don't like our current mayor, then you will find other ways to try to attack them. And I think, we should be supportive of everyone. I mean, first of all, I'm one of those people who I'm not pleased that me and my ancestors are in this country.
Exactly.
Okay? But we are here. It is ours, and we need to do what we can. But there are people who want to come here. Okay, like I want them to send me out. I want to be backed by somebody, and I'll be in Ghana tomorrow. If someone cut me a check, the reparations check that's necessary. But they're here. They could be working at the different places that we need to, people to work at and do all the different things. So I have any problem with that. But I do understand. I think what he's trying to say is that if you're sometimes protesting one thing, someone else will attack you someplace else.
Yeah, but I don't think that again that goes to show you. I don't think any of the people in the house community are the ones that are doing the protesting about it. But that goes to show you again, like I was saying, they don't know us.
All right.
I'm telling you guys, they don't know us. I mean, the most that they know about us is the Chosen Few picnic, and thank Alan and Wayne and Terry and Mike and all those guys. And what they've done to even bring house music even to another light here in the city. But as far as the culture and the deepness that we live by in this, they have no idea. They have no idea.
People don't get how important house music is to the world. People love this music form. They want to hear it. They want to hear it live. No one wants to sit around on Twitch all day and sit around on Facebook all day and sit around just in front of a computer listening to the music all day. They want to get out and hear it. And there are only so many places. So I'm proud of you for taking the chance to say, I want to open up a club like you saw your people do back in the day that you helped make successful.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Somebody just said they can't hear me.
That's always when you might have to get closer to this. Right? Yeah, closer to me. I come over here, you'll be closer to that. That's what I was wondering. I was like, oh, but someone's here because they responded in some way. But
can you guys hear me now?
They should be able to hear you now. You got to be pretty loud now. Yeah. But so, I mean, I feel like I want to go back though, because when we go back, he says, I hear you fine. When you go, I think so. Your microphone thing could be under here, and it was on that. Oh, that's what happens with it. You put it right here. Sometimes you can't hear. But so here's the deal, though. I feel like when we look back, I want to give a shout out to the Chicago Black Social Culture Map, Dr. Maida McNeil's project that talks about the history of house music. Actually, you can just put it on this thing if you want to put it on there. I think that we are documenting all of the spaces in which Black music and social culture happened. So that was from the 1900s until today. So there was a jazz row, there was a blues row. There was so many different places where people go, 43rd Street, this and that. So we try to figure out like where people, where was Black music being consumed? Where was Duke Ellington? Where was all these things, right? So we're putting it on this wonderful map, and you can just Google Chicago Black Social Culture Map and see that. But I want you to think about this now. Like Chicago was the home of the blues as well, right?
But I got one for you.
Yes.
On that map,
Mhm.
once you finish doing your research, you'll find out how we tie into what you're doing. The Elks have owned that building for 86 years.
Wow.
One of the things with the Elks of Chicago, at one point there were 5 lodges all in the Bronzeville area.
Mm.
What the Elks of Chicago were known for was underground entertainment back since the 1930s.
Nice.
So all of those people that you mentioned have actually, when they would come into the city to perform, they would always
That would be
come
one of
back
the
to the
places.
hood and perform for the Elks.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is history that we probably don't have on that map. We really need
You
to
need
talk
to
a little
find,
bit
yeah,
more
it's
about
two.
that.
It's actually the building that's one of the Elks locations was the building across the street from room 40, not room 43, the Negro League Cafe.
Right.
It's under renovation right now.
Okay.
That was an old Elk Lodge, which was a
Interesting.
main ballroom.
Wow.
Our ballroom, which again, we've owned that building for 86 years. The Great
Mhm.
Lake Elks Lodge number 43. We've owned it for 86 years. Before that, it was the Paramount Theater. And before that, actually, well, before it was a Paramount Theater, it was a room for women that were trying to vote here in Chicago.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's
That's wonderful
it's
history.
a meeting room. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's wonderful history.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, that's the whole thing. Like, if you think about sort of mob culture in Chicago too, there's a lot of things happening underground in these speakeasies.
Exactly.
And they could easily get themselves out through that
Exactly.
back door. So
Mhm.
there was all kinds of wonderful music taking place and things like that. People knew where to go, that kind of thing. But right now, how many blues clubs are there in Chicago?
Well, actually, that's interesting that you said that because right before we got shut down, we had started a blues night.
Shut up.
Yeah. We had started a blues night. It
That's
was
probably
doing
people
really
get.
good.
It's only like 4 of them.
Yeah,
We got Keystone.
yeah.
Mind y'all, tell me where these blues clubs. It's a very
Yeah,
small amount. And
yeah.
jazz clubs as well. Where do you go if you want to hear jazz? There used to be Jazz Bulls, this, that, Jazz Oasis. There used to be jazz club after jazz club, and they slowly disappear. There's a guy who did a quick documentary about sort of Chicago blues,
Mhm.
and he did sort of basically throughout his thing, he was just mapping how we would shut down 43rd Street, and then they'd end up in Old Town,
Right.
or they end up
Well,
in
one
Old
of the
Town.
things, as we circle back to being a club owner, one of the things is really hard for African Americans to run a successful nightclub, especially with a liquor license, is because we can't charge the same prices that they charge downtown and up north.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even if we're giving better, whatever, sound, better entertainment, everything, people feel because they're on the south side of Chicago that they can't pay the prices that they pay down there. But sometimes, and one of the things with my establishment, I didn't want people to pay exuberant prices. I just want you to be moderately comparable to what you're paying up north.
Exactly.
Because if we had success with people, supporting the bar, buying drinks and things like that, and supporting the place, period, then what I would do is turn around and I'd always put the money back into the business anyway. You see what I'm saying? We don't, and I don't know if I can, I know I can speak for a couple of friends of mine with Black-owned businesses. It's hard for us to make such a large profit that we can really do the things that we want to
really
do.
need to be
Well,
done.
we did, yeah.
Well, let's talk about that too, because I do want to think about sort of elevation. So back in the day when we used to go to these clubs that were warehousey, that were, like not as great, things were not like a top of the line sort of feeling, contemporary club now. And, I think certainly there's a certain group of people that do want to elevate the experience. We want house music, and we'd like it to be in a place that, sort of looks different. Top of the line booths, top of the line looking bars, funky, beautiful sort of different things inside. So are we elevating? Because when I think about Family Den and when I think about Dating Game, they look the same for the last 50 years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I have never seen improvements there. I mean, you're sitting on the
Same benches
couch
that your great
that's got the big thing hole in it, cutting your leg or whatever. It's like,
Well,
are we elevating? Can we do that? And will that change what people will that making people come, in a different way or better? Or do you think sort of that underground sort of raw thing is kind of where we're going to stay?
Well, I think that there's a way of elevating. I looked at the lodge as a place where it wasn't as pristine and pretty as the upper scale club, but it was a nice room,
Right.
meaning that the furniture, the decor, everything was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But what was cool about it was in that niceness, it still kept the underground feel of where we came from.
Got it.
And I think creating a balance like that is what you need to have to succeed. Because I think that if you start to polish a house music club too much, you'll lose the soul. You'll lose the feeling. You really, really will. Yeah.
I want to hear, I'm wondering what people think about that. When they go to these clubs at ADE, when they're in Berlin, when they're in London, how is that? I'm wondering what those experiences are, how people are feeling when they're in sort of an underground feel. And I think the last time I actually went to sort of a club, I was in Amsterdam, and it was beautiful on the inside, and it didn't feel that. But you had to go down the stairs. It was very bricked out, that kind of thing. But inside was top of the line. Of course, sound system was top of the line. That kind of thing. And kicked it.
Let me just say this: there's a way to do it if you have the money to do it.
Yes,
that's the main thing. If you have the money to do it, there's a way of keeping that mystique and taking it to a whole nother level.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, we don't have the revenue to do that.
Right.
And then again, but you have to have the right mindset. You have to be able to take that concept of bringing it up a notch without taking it where it pulls so far away from the underground feel.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think that is so important because we do want to have that same feeling. And it's funny, our mayor, Mr. Johnson, always is talking about now the soul of Chicago. Everything's it has the soul. This has the soul of Chicago, which I think is really interesting. But the soul in house music is critical.
Yeah.
And that feeling, so house is a feeling. And sometimes people don't get that. People are always like, what are you talking about? Right? But it is something about that just keeps you wanting to dance all night, that keeps you engaged and wanting to hear it all the time. And I think, again, it's a global thing. People are listening to the music across the country. It's always shifted a little bit. Music always continues to evolve, but that soul continues to be important.
Exactly.
Certainly for our community, I think that's important too. But so, what do you think is, I do think there's some lessons to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to help me with, as we move forward, what are the lessons learned as a club owner right now that you can impart upon all of us that we need to be thinking about as we take the next steps? What are the things that you can improve upon, and what are those things that we have to, make sure is taken to the next level as we sort of think about making the lodge bigger and better, or collaborating with someone so we put together something that is bigger and better for the next sort of flow? What do you think?
Well, one of the things I've learned is I kind of got a really clear idea of what the city of Chicago is looking for interior wise, and stuff like that, electrical, fire, all that kind of stuff. I've consulted with some really cool people that I've been knowing for years. Shout out to Dion Hunter and Kevin Abdullah on the fire side.
Yes. And, thanks, guys.
Those two guys have helped me out a lot. Just getting things in order. You know what I'm saying? You get to when it comes down to it, it is a lesson learned.
Right.
That's all I could say. Once we come out of this, because we will come out of this, we're gonna be dangerous.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna be dangerous because now I know exactly how you look at us. First of all, I know how you look at us, and then I know how to move now. Because you're not looking at us just as another business. You would not believe some of the things. It's really crazy that when people get certain powers, like you were talking about the inspector that you were with,
right,
they can say things and put things on paper that are not true and not get challenged.
Yeah,
they won't get challenged, and that's what really, like I say, I can't say too much because I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm just trying to get my doors back open.
I
But
know.
it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing some of the stuff that I've experienced. I could write a book. I could tell you guys that right now. I could write a book and it would be a good read, and you would not want to put it down. I guarantee you.
And here's the deal: there's no classes on how to run a
No.
successful club. There's nothing out there. Now, right now, by the way, there's about 9,000 classes that the city of Chicago is offering and a new conference on how to develop a new property. Okay, so right now they're trying to get young minority developers out there because they realized that no one was teaching them how to build a Sears Tower. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a very finite number of people who know how to build these things. It's the same thing with clubs. There's no class
and that
on
would be
operating a
interesting,
good club.
something to bring to Columbia, because Columbia is real good for that, and places like that.
Shout out to Columbia.
Yeah.
They've just put together all the people like yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't give them a lot of love, but we really should give them more love.
Columbia College, that would be a really cool class. One of the things that I liked about Columbia the most was all of my teachers were in the business at that time.
That's
so anything that was going on in the industry that I wanted to know, my teacher was in the business.
There. They can introduce you.
And
they can tell you what the thing is going on. And I love schools like that, teaching schools. The people are right there in the industry. They can help you with different things. And I think we need to go back to that. I mean, if you're an alum, you really should not be afraid. And a lot of things, fear keeps us from doing a lot of things because we do need a lot more help. We need a lot more guidance.
Exactly.
There needs to be sort of something with those folks. And again, keep in mind, there's only so many clubs and restaurants in the world that have gone on 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Okay. And they have a structure that's tight because that's when you can franchise, right? And I feel like a club that has Chicago on it anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world would get some love.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's something, and something you
Let
can
me just
do.
tell you this: if we went over in London and we opened up a restaurant or a club and it was called Chicago, and we featured Chicago DJs,
it would be
somebody
hype.
Just stole my idea. Is about to be a millionaire, I'm sure. But it would be unbelievable.
It would be hype, but it's got to be you. It's got to be. We're gonna make that happen. We got to do that. I mean, that's the thing. That's what you realize because when you just say Chicago and you someplace, all of a sudden the DJs start playing differently. All of Chicago in the house, that kind of thing, and they'll give you love. You just go. You go South Africa or different place, you just say Chicago. People like, what up? So I think that's something that we should think about. But again, there's nothing out there that teaches you how to be a sustainable club. But what you just said makes me recognize that you know exactly what the next thing is. Because again, the city has specialized in shutting down Black establishments, no matter what it is. Okay.
So
hate to be like that. But it's truth. And again, we can prove that statistically. I have the data. And I'm happy to share with people, but you have to go over and above and you have to understand what those systems are. And we have to use our political clout in a different way. Again, we are voters, we are adults, and we have to let people know, like, this is what we expect from you to be supportive of this thing that is simply moving forward a genre birthed in the city of Chicago.
Right.
By young people who are now superstars globally. But here in the city of Chicago, we can't get the respect.
Not at all. Not at all.
Which is too bad. I mean, something's got to be done. And it can be done from the highest level since all of our elected officials are house heads.
Which is crazy. Crazy,
It's outrageous.
But we need to start taking advantage of that. We really do.
We have to do it. And we can't be afraid to do it. Again, fear stops us from doing a lot of things. Scott Lee says the family did reminded me of my mother-in-law's house with the vinyl covering on furniture. That isn't mean, but you're right. It was like a plastic thing. It was always plastic, like you're sitting down. Anyway, it was. I do get a little crazy about it, but so someone says the den is still here. They ain't come for the decor. They came to drink, kick it. Yes, you are correct. You're just supposed to be dancing, but you got to sit down a little bit because women have heels on. Okay, everyone's trying to be cute. You got to sit down for a second, even though it's packed in there. You want to sit down for a second, otherwise you'll leave. Sometimes, you know what I mean. If you ain't all that comfortable, so you have to. You have to do that. I mean, I love the family den. Here's the other thing too. It really is sometimes too when you go to. Safety is critical everywhere now. When we're looking at this, Chicago's kind of gone a little bit off the wire.
What's up, Roy?
With these crazy things that are happening in terms of safety, and we've got to find some places that really will give us a little bit of a sense of safety, maybe some places to park.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, people can Uber and things like that, but I think that we have to find places. I mean, it's hard to find a bunch of places with like a ton of parking.
No, it is. It
It's
is.
tough.
Like, give you an example. The lodge, we have a lot right across the street. When we have pack nights,
Nice.
we're allowed to use the lot. It's owned by the restaurant. I mean, the store, the grocery store right there. But they let
Yeah.
us use it.
That's awesome.
But like I say, you have to understand. People just don't understand the things that we go through as club owners. I had a meeting with one city official, and they were telling me how our parties were, we were leaving liquor bottles and stuff all over the street. And I'm like, you obviously don't know my clientele.
Right, exactly.
I said, even if my clientele drank in the car, they're not going to throw that bottle out the window. They're not going to do that, but this is what they think about us, that we, that we're going to sit up there and drink up and down 51st Street and 50th. And I told them, I said, well, I clean up. And tell me that my neighbors complain about the music. I have never once had one neighbor come to me and say anything about that. But, but if I'm told that, I'm supposed to just accept it.
Right.
And this is what's happening. But,
And it really is about advocating for yourself, though.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you have to do.
Yeah, you do.
People like to suggest that you did something or somebody else did something. The same people throwing stuff out of the windows, you know what I mean? They're throwing the McDonald's bags out the windows and all these other things. That's not you. That's not you and your people. That's the same people who you should have been.
I just have to say this, maybe. I shouldn't, like I say, I got to watch my mouth because we still are in litigation. But I got a call 2 weeks ago, and I was told that the neighbors were complaining that I had given a teen party with over 200 kids in the streets, and it was disrupting the neighborhood.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay, that was 2 weeks ago, right? And they said, yeah, 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh. I said, you are aware that we're closed and there's a cease and desist on the building,
Right.
So we weren't open 2 weeks ago. But then there's quiet and tumbleweeds,
Right.
But again, we're blamed for that. And like I said, you guys don't have the clue of the stuff that I'm going through just to try to get us back open.
And I think it really is, again, we have to advocate for ourselves. We have to document these slights upon sort of the work that you've done over time. Like, you've operated for 8 years without an incident. You know what I'm saying? And we have to create the media for ourselves at this point, because they don't know what house music is on a larger scale. No one's telling them, no one's telling Choose Chicago that you should be advocating for more house music spaces and places. They know what happens when you bring the Jazz Fest there. Jazz Fest, everyone's going to Buddy Guys after that. Everyone's going to, Jazz Showcase after that.
Exactly.
But we have the house music thing, and people have to sort of, we're going to go to this somebody else's rooftop, or somebody else's this, or somebody we're, having to hire or go to other people's places instead of our own places that we could support every day of the week and things like that. So it's like we have to create our own media, but we can't create our own media strategy if we're not working together.
We have to work together. But I mean, again, that's, everybody's, when you ask people for your assistance and your help, you can't be afraid to do that. First of all,
Right.
I can put my ego aside and ask, if I need help, I need your help.
And I saw your Reader article, and I think that was great. Thanks to the Reader for
thanks
supporting
to the Reader
that.
and Resident Advisor.
And
They
RA,
did a
thank
great
you.
article on us to help us along. It's interesting how we can get that support, but I don't think there's any. Those are all North Side entities,
Right.
and I haven't got a phone call from any South Side.
Well,
entity.
let's talk about this. I mean,
Yeah.
where are the South Side?
Yeah,
We got
yeah,
the Citizen, we got the South Side, this, maybe Block Club Chicago. There's the Tribe
Yeah,
that we can sort of tap into. But sometimes their issues are not around music, and they don't see that as a tie-in to discrimination.
They don't.
You know, because again, people will always think the club has something crazy happening
Oh,
because there's
dude.
always
Oh,
something
say it.
crazy.
That's always. It's always the club had something happen.
Yeah, you know he deserved that. It needed to be
it
closed. But
it
I
did.
did nothing, but I'm
Oh,
trying
they
to
need to be
entertain the people.
closed. They having strip shows and everything.
Right.
I kid you not.
I can
This
see
is the
that.
stuff that I'm getting. We've got adult entertainment happening and all that. Just a flurry of stuff that's like just blows me away. But when you try to defend yourself, the person, the judge, the lawyer, the alderman, everybody looking at you side eye because this is the first they were told this.
Right.
You see.
But I think the strategy is, and I think as we talk about sort of lessons learned, I do think it really is about getting everyone involved right away.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't want to do that. But again, we're voting adults now. Now we have to go in and say, look, you know what? I need my alderman to come down and support my this or that. You know, the mayor comes to a lot of groundbreakings, and a lot of grand openings.
Yeah.
And the aldermen and some of the state senators and some of those, you know, county professionals come to some of these openings. But let me tell you what happens. If I open something in Olympia Fields, that small city village in the south suburbs, the mayor is there if I'm opening up a nail salon but it's a very different thing in the city of Chicago, right? The bureaucracies are so different and they got so many things to do that your thing is not as important to them as somebody else's.
It's not.
But we have to get them involved right away and say, look, this is a top of the line institution. It's something you should support. I'm going to need this and that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to need this and that. I need
because there were so many things that I wanted to. One of the things that I wanted to do with the lodge was, you know, we have a lot of downtime. So I actually wanted to start having classes for teens about the music industry.
Nice.
Because we have key people in the house music industry that are making some serious noise and have major connections. We have major connections in the record industry right here. Sure. And, you know, my major was art and entertainment management and my minor was sound engineering. So, I mean, what I constantly teach kids, younger people, I'm going to say kids, younger people all the time is everybody doesn't have to be a star. You can make millions by you can either write the beats, learning publishing. Right. I had a whole conversation with 3 young men today that came down to help me at the lodge. And I was telling them about the publishing and how that works. And they were amazed. They had no idea that that's how people got paid.
It is amazing. Industry. People don't really get like the music industry in general because and that's why we've had so many issues. And, you know, Louis Green just had a new article come out about how, you know, one of, you know, songs that he created were never attributed to him over the years. People don't know. They don't know all these things and things that they can do to sort of move their creativity to the next level. So I think that what you're doing is so commendable. I'm so proud of you again.
I appreciate
it does take, and I'll tell you right away, you know, someone like me, I love music. I love clubs. I love real estate. I put people in places all the time. And I'm like, whew, sounds like a lot of hard work to me. You know what I mean? I don't want to do it.
It is.
But we need you.
But if you love it, do it.
You have to do it.
Yeah, if you love it, you got to do it. It's in my blood.
Well, I want everyone to support Craig in these new endeavors. He's going to elevate from this point on. We're going to have the lodge 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to make that happen very soon because it can happen and it should happen. Okay. We're not opening as big as the China Club. Homeboy just referenced the China Club. I used to love China Club, but you know, it's small clubs. Come on and do it. I think that, you know, we can absolutely sort of mimic what you've done, make it better, more support for it. And tell me like all the superstars you've had spin at the lodge.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's a big list, but these are important people.
List. Well, we've got, I mean, you know, even some of the people that are just coming up, they're all important to me.
Yes.
You know, one of the things is that we've had a slew of talent that has come through the lodge. You know, we had Terry Hunter, Mike Dunn, Wayne Williams, Dion Hunter, Greg Gray, Dion Bracken, Titan Davis, DJ Emmanuel, Alan King, DJ Alicia, Lori Branch. I mean, I think everyone that's in the industry, Andre Hatchett, I think everyone that's in the industry has actually played at the lodge. I've had Quentin Harris fly in. He played. We've had some good people. And Ron Trent, Joe Cassell was there, but he didn't play yet. He loved it. He stayed in the booth all night. But
Hung
he's
out, but not on the
yeah,
decks. Right,
not on the
right, yeah.
decks yet. But that was my goal. We had a lot of things that we were working on, especially Vic Lavender, Ron Carroll, Steve Maxwell.
Yeah.
You know,
Steve
that
said hello. He
and
said, "What's
Goma.
up, Craig? Did you see him?
Oh, he's up there. Hey,
Hey,
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah, great DJ.
Hey,
Steve was
Justin.
good. Dwayne Powell. They have a group called Ngoma, and their party is sick. It is, oh my God. That was one of the best parties at the lodge. Their party was one of the best parties at the lodge.
All right, so we got to jump off. Street Beat continues without us, but before we leave, Halloween, give me the details on that again.
Halloween is our 8-year anniversary right at Haven. It's the lodge's 8-year anniversary. Go get your tickets on Eventbrite now. The early bird tickets are almost sold out, so get your early bird ticket. And all the people who have donated on the GoFundMe page, I have a private VIP section just for you guys. So donate on GoFundMe as well. All right. Go to my page, Craig Loftis, and see you soon. Wish us luck. And don't forget to send your video in of what the lodge means to you.
And Scott, that is a great, fantastic thing that you just recommended. He asked if there's an economic study on how much house music clubs bring to a neighborhood or the city. And I think what we should do is sort of think about that globally. See what Berlin does, every night on their road. I think we should really think about some, sort of using that as a tool to say the city should grant big dollars for that particular use. And they've done that for so many other things. So I just want you to know it's something that can happen. You can jump on and I'll put you up, okay?
Yeah, no, please don't let me speak.
But guys, thank you so much. Thank you for co-hosting today, and continue to donate to the Eventbrite, to your GoFundMe. Contribute to that. Next week we have DJ Mo Mami. We are also celebrating Latin history, Hispanic history. It goes until the 15th of October. She will be here with a group of folks. So we're going to celebrate house music. We're going to celebrate the different people from across the world who love this music and have contributed to its success. So thank you for joining the Vintage House Show. Street Beat continues on WNUR 89.3 FM, Evanston, Chicago.
Thanks for listening to the Vintage House Show podcast. Please subscribe and share, and check us out live, WNUR 89.3 FM, Wednesdays at 10 o'clock.
All right.